Sunny day here. Sunny day. Actually, it's not that cold today. It's a little warmer out today, and you can see the big heavy duty industrial snow blower thing over there on the other side of that big snow mound here in Duluth, Minnesota, here sitting in my car outside the McDonald's. Anyway, yeah, just gonna do a quick impromptu video, just talk about my thoughts on the channel basically. And so yeah, so what I was trying to do is I was trying to I'm still gonna do all like the same type of videos I've been doing on this channel, but then I'm gonna try to add in, like, I know I did a couple of videos that were like those map ones that did really well at the very beginning. I need to do more of those ones for sure. And then I did a couple other informational videos as far as some vlog stuff too, some stuff that shows the personality of the dog and all that too. But I have a few that are more, because I like doing like a little more like, thoughtful, kind of intellectual type ones like that, because but anyway, but you'll notice like recently I put up a video. It was basically just an audio book by Jung that I put together, and just one of his audio books. I mean, now unfortunately it is like a computer reading it, but it sounds pretty good. And then with some images, and then I had some other thing. And anyway, but the reason I was interested just to talk about like why I think that psychology, and especially like the teachings of Carl Jung, could really help make this channel better, and hopefully make my life better too, right? if hopefully the idea is not just to make the channel better, but although sometimes having like a channel, one thing is it does kind of give you like a motivational tool or something, and kind of like a way of tracking. You could say it's kind of like a public journal, you could say, if it's going to be like that, like, oh yeah, like there was that one girl called that personal growth through van life. I was thinking of her channel. She actually explicitly did that. But anyway, but no, the reason, like, Carl, I think the reason I was interested in the psychology is I was interested in the psychology of because part of it is to try to make my channel better, and then make things that resonate with people, where it really strikes them, where it's actually talking about something. And then which obviously I haven't gotten too many subs so far, so it hasn't worked so great so far. But anyway, except on one of the video, probably that map video. But anyway, and but I was interested in, like, kind of a common theme, and in stuff like, like what it is deep down that makes like certain stories to be like, because you've probably heard how a lot of stories, they always like appear a lot, the same story about, the hero's journeys. Like, I guess that's the most famous one, that sort of thing. And then that's what Carl Jung would call like archetypes of the collective unconscious. So he would say that in every human being, there's deep down this collective unconscious that could kind of be almost like you consider like the instincts of animals, but maybe a little higher level than that, where to act in a certain way, or anyway, or to act like, like, let's say like the king archetype, or the wise old man, the wizard. I mean, something like that, where you're acting, that you have almost like these autonomous personalities within you that in your unconscious that try to affect you, and that you could tap into that sometimes, but then but you could sometimes be controlled by ones. And then there's ones that kind of like, it's like the archetype gets somehow mixed up with like some trauma, something that happened that causes like a complex. But anyway, and you've heard about that, like your child inside. So there could be, a lot of these ones, and anyway, and but one way, these different like ideas that are kind of universal across, and that's what that one book about that mandala symbolism was. He was saying that there's a psychological thing that people who are schizophrenic, and kids who are Carl Jung was saying, and kids who in trauma, they would spontaneously draw these mandalas that had certain characteristics, and then of course the different ones became incorporated into. So basically he's saying your unconscious produces symbols in dreams, in like in different states, hypnagogic states, I guess, even like, yeah, okay, you'd say like even, what do you call it, on psychedelics or anything, where you're breaking into the unconscious like that, but especially like in dreams, so he was big into studying dreams and mythology and all that kind of stuff, just to look for the common themes. So basically when you think about it, he was going through all these old like myths and ancient writings and all this stuff. And alchemy, he went into alchemy a lot, all this really weird stuff in order to like understand someone's dreams. It's kind of a strange thing. A guy who really enjoyed learning a lot of information, but but anyway, look at these pigeons at the top of this roof here. Yeah, so anyway, and so part of it was that kind of idea, and part of it was kind of like me actually trying to find like the meaning of that hidden highways. Okay, that my channel name Hidden Highways, it actually came out. Okay, it was some passage. It was in a Stephen King book, but then it was one of those things where it's like hidden highways. It's one of those things like when I hear that word, it would just kind of like give me like this feeling in my chest, this tough, I don't know if that's ever happened, but and when something happens like that, I was getting the idea from Jung that maybe something is striking, you're kind of tapping, something has struck you at like the archetypal level, at that core level, something went down to that lower level of unconsciousness, the deep levels, and struck you at that moment, and then that's why you had that feeling, and that's why people have talked about like intuition and stuff. Now, of course, you wouldn't want to, you still need your logic to figure things out and stuff like that, but you could at least use your intuition. So you want to have it confirmed in other ways, but in some ways you could, if you keep getting some feeling, there's a good chance that there's something in your subconscious, your unconscious trying to teach you this. Anyway, so yeah, so anyway, but that was part of it. So I was thinking of that, and and then after reading a lot, I think I do have kind of like a theme now. I'm gonna not reveal too much of it, but I'm gonna come up with a theme now. I need to put it together. I don't want to say too much in case someone steals my idea before it gets no. But I had kind of like a way of kind of like incorporating, like what's like the real like core reason people like to go camping or van life, or that sort of thing, or like hiding someplace or stealth camping. I mean, that there's something core in there, and it's more than just like the money factor. I mean, obviously that's a part of it, but I think a lot of times we invent like all these money factors just because we do actually really like the adventure of it and stuff. Now this is obviously not. It doesn't become that level if a person is just forced into it. They're just going to probably have like a bad attitude. If there's like, you see like the people, sitting with all everything they own, like in their, anyway, just got kicked out of their place or something like that. But I'm just saying, but if a person intelligently, plans it out, and stuff like, so anyway, so yeah, so that was what it is. I was looking for a framework, something I could talk about, cause I guess for me, I want things to be deep. I get like bored if people just talk about surface stuff. I mean, it's just, I get, I really like to have something, there be a deep meaning for everything and stuff. So and it might be, and there's other things too. I know a lot about science and history and that sort of stuff. I'll try to, but I think this Jungian psychology, I think it performs kind of like a framework to kind of like unite like the channel and make it like a kind of like a unified field theory of channels, and then, which is what I want to do, because I want to do more than just like, hey, this is how I met people. This is how I partied. This is how, I save money, or something like that. Like I've seen one of these channels, like one of these Bob Wells things, like, oh, I save, yeah, how much money did you save? It's like, isn't that about the most boring thing a person could talk about, It's like there's no, so we're looking to be like the, hey, maybe I'll think like my archetype that I want to be like. There's like this one line in this Harry Chafin in the Taxis is like, there's a wild man wizard hiding in me. So I was thinking of myself as kind of being like, wizard, not like in the evil sense or anything, but just more like a man, like knowing science. I know a lot of science, and I'm building my refuge here. And anyway, yeah, oh yeah, and another thing too is like when you daydream a lot, that's another thing. Like it might get into what Jung calls active imagination, where even if you keep like dreaming about something, you kind of like where the characters in your mind become real. Because I also want to be a writer too. I've done some writing, and a little, been paid for a little bit of writing, but not haven't gone too much. But yes, but when you keep, and it becomes real, maybe you kind of create like, it's like they become kind of like autonomous personalities in your psyche, these different characters or something, or it just becomes like, well, no, maybe what I was gonna just try to say is just like when you keep imagining, like daydreaming of something, you can kind of imagine what something. Sometimes you might be digging up stuff from your unconscious and kind of working through that. So I guess that is maybe what psychotherapists do and all that kind of stuff. Work through this, imagine stuff, and all that kind of. I mean, I went to a couple like psychologists when I was a kid, but they weren't really doing anything specific method. It seemed like they were just kind of talking. Maybe that's the thing. Like but anyway, but the only difference is like Freud. He believed in like the unconscious, but he was always like, he thought it was mostly all sex. So he tried to like tie just about everything to sex, where Jung said, yeah, there's like that, but it's also, but there's also like, much more than motivations than just like sex. It's like, there's all kinds of drives that come from, so he believed in, Freud didn't really believe in like a collective unconscious. He believed in more of as like a personal unconscious too. So there's your personal unconscious too, but the deepest, which is, your own personal stuff you've either repressed or it's gone into, well, they say, you've heard like the shadow. That's a concept. I guess I don't have time to talk about that, but that's another interesting Jungian thing that sometimes like if you if you like see someone and like and you think they're a tyrant, you think all these bad things about them, it might be because you're projecting stuff onto them from your shadow. So you've repressed that part of you that's like the tyrant, maybe that bully within, and you're putting it onto that other person, you know. So anyway, so yeah, so as far as like making a channel, helping writing, and then also, you know, helping with some personal life, although, you know, and yeah, anyway, so yeah, it's just it's something that kind of gives, like, you know, and there's different people like who, anyway, I guess I could say a lot on this. This is just a preview, but yeah, I think this is a new exciting subject, and even if I'm not actually really traveling, I can still show that, like, you know, I'm still, you know, tied to like van life through the psychology, and because, you know, I think about it a lot, and I'm always keep my van ready for that day, because I think it'll come someday, but I don't really want to be forced into it, and I kind of, whatever, for different reasons. Right now I'm living in a place, and I guess my place isn't too expensive here in Duluth, really, you know, all things considered. Oh, there's that snowplow thing. See, we got some monster like snow removal thing. See, it's got like a big snow thing that chops up the snow and blows it out, you know. All right, guys, see you later.